It's certainly been a while, hasn't it? Hello everybody and welcome to the 32nd episode of the Train Simulator News Show. Well, I consider myself a bit better to make videos now. My medication honestly hasn't gone too well, but I don't really want to dwell on that. How about we do some train sim stuff? Still like I haven't got enough material to work with. Actually, before we start, I might as well get a few things over with. You may have noticed I've started streaming to try and get myself back into making videos and stuff. The streams themselves will most likely involve either me playing on Pokemon Showdown, because it's somewhat fun, as long as I don't get killed by random crits, or me route building playing on Train Sim. I'm not in the mood to play TF2, not after the Meet Your Match update. The casual mode is an utter crap fest, so I don't know about TF2 streaming. But if I do stream, I'll attempt to give 48 hours or most likely 24 hours notice. I'm not sure if it appears up on YouTube, but if you don't get the notification on YouTube, you can check them out on my Steam group. That's where I'll try and post them up as well. I'll link my Steam group in the description if you want to join, so you can get some infos. Also, please don't send me random friend requests. I'll most likely ignore them on the spot. Sorry. How about we talk about something recent? You know, kind of like what the definition of news is. And that is good news to people living in Birmingham, as apparently the Class 323 is being made for Train Sim by the very famous Extravis Games.
Who?
Extravis Games. Surely you must have heard of them. They've made actually nothing. I've never heard of them before. They say they're making a Class 323 and they're also making the Cross City line, all 32 miles of it. Now you may have noticed that I said apparently making, because as far as I'm concerned, the only picture that we have is of a real life picture of a Class 323 at Lichfield Trent Valley. And I don't really want to say this, but pics or it didn't happen. That's basically what this goes down to. There's no need to unnecessarily generate hype when this is the best picture you have of your creation. And even if it's in development, would a shot from 3DS Max or Blender be too much to ask? Really? Because, as you can see here, the community is utterly, well, what's the word I'm looking for here? Ecstatic for this train, even though there's no pictures for it. It goes to show just how easily pleased this community is. And I use the word community very lightly here. Now, I don't want to go around discouraging developers, old or new, from making content in Train Simulator, but do remember, Mr. Geordie actually posted this for the Class 460. So, the hype had some basis to it. Here, at least to the date of me recording this, there is no basis for this hype. And even then, reading the paragraph on their announcement, it feels like I'm reading a script for Price Drop TV. Especially with how they're saying stuff like, we're faithfully recreating this melodic 3-car electric multiple unit. Or lines like, with the line now electrified between Bromsgrove and Barnt Green, you too will be able to experience the 1 in 37.7 gradient that is the Licky Incline, like never before. Yes, 1 in 37 was pretty tricky in 1966. But the people who built those high-speed lines in France look at that and laugh. Because that's easy. What did they get up to? Was it 1 in 27, 29 they get to? Yeah, well, that's steep. But yeah, basically, as far as I'm concerned, pics or it didn't happen. But if you are making it, I do wish you the best of luck. But I'd like to see some pictures first. Moving on. Oh, there's a new add-on for Train Sim Worlds, but I really don't care. Moving on. Does anybody remember the Moorgate Extension for Train Sim? It's available on backdated Train Sim to download, but a new version has been posted out with help from yours truly. And I'm not even going to beat around the bush, it looks really good. If you ask me, the quality of this extension absolutely nukes the likes of Just Trains, for example, in terms of respect to the source material, including the different types of tunnelling at Highbury and Islington. You know, just little things like that. It also includes proper signalling with the tunnel signals, and thanks to the assistance of yours truly, thanks to many reference trips, the route now has more custom objects and stations to make it feel even more realistic. And not to mention photo textures, again from yours truly. As I was chatting with Mr. George, who was building the route, and I did say, tell you what, you're doing really well, how about I go down to some of these stations, go ahead and do some research for you and see what's what, so you can, you know, make it as accurate as you can possibly can, since he now knows how to make 3D models on train sim. So yeah, I'm pretty glad of how it looks. It looks really great. And hopefully with this new version, it should encourage more people to utilize this small section of the East Coast Main Line, technically. Again, it's linked in the description if you want to go ahead and download it for yourself. Do be warned, it does require a few other additions as well, but even without being biased, I could say it's worth it on presentation alone. In fact, I'll go one step further to prove I'm not even biased. The walls near the end of Old Street are the wrong colour, but at least I have the photo texture for him to use whenever he's ready. And speaking of Just Trains... Whilst I've been away, Just Trains have clearly been on a roll down the hill into a gravel pit, clearly demonstrated by the quality of the content they've been churning out. I really wanted to enjoy this route, the Valley Corridor, which is basically a revamped version of the Express Corridor, one of the earliest routes I remember getting for train sim. It was a nice freeway route, with super elevation by the way, and whilst it couldn't really diverge off the route, it did have some original ideas, such as having the freight lines, for example, being segregated, for the most part, from the passenger services, and I like that, and being able to do that with more modern rolling stock, better signalling, and maybe being able to branch off in a few areas and places, I'd be down with that. But guess what? It's built like a Just Trains route, which means I have to deal with stuff like this, and this, and...
See, from a distance, it actually looks quite good. Look at that! This isn't its best side though, because you've got the hinges on. It looks better than the other side.
How the hell did that get past testing? How did it get past the alpha? Those textures do not match at all. It's horrible. To add, basically all the station names on the route are incredibly uninspired. You've got stuff like North Central, South Central, Mid Central. I think one of the stops was called High Pass or High Pines, or one of the two. It's just disgustingly uninspired. And I can go onto a random name generator on the interweb and find more creative names. What really was stopping Just Trains from doing that? I know it's a fictional route and you can pretty much call any station whatever you want. If it's fictional, you could call a station Box and technically you can't complain, but I can complain in terms of creativity. And the less I say about the stability issues, the better. Again, it's built like a Just Trains route. In some areas, it can look nice, but uninstalled. Toss it in the bin until it gets fixed, or I don't know. Of course, it's not like Just Trains haven't given me enough material to work with. What with the, hey, let's make the line from Marylebone to Aylesbury, and of course, include that pitiful excuse of an AI model S-Stock, even though we've now chucked up the funds to make a proper S-Stock. What? Why not just bin that old S-Stock model and include the new model with the route? Because at least then people could make a scenario where you drive from Baker Street to Amersham, because, well, knowing Just Trains, it's very unlikely they'd include the line going to Watford, Chesham and Uxbridge. I mean, who would say no to that, at least? It's a very specific kind of fan they'd be catering to. Make me the line to Aylesbury, but do not include a good S-Stock at all. Sell it separate, because that's fair for me, you know, kind of like how Power Herb Geomancy or Meta Knight is fair. I made a few people angry on the comment sections of Just Trains' Facebook page because I compared their AI S-Stock to an MSTS model, and you can't say that. That is rude, and because I need to do better. I can't say anything bad about anything unless I do better. That was the main argument provided to me, which in fairness would work really well in real life, right up until the moment you go to a restaurant and get food poisoning. But I digress. I guess whenever you mention the phrase MSTS, people automatically think of content like this, when actually I was thinking more on the lines of these models looking a damn sight better than the Just Trains S-Stock AI model thing. Hell, I'd even say some of the stuff from Transport Fever looks more detailed than the AIS stock. And even if you continue to move the goalposts like someone said, oh, it's just AI, defend that. That's the Train Team Berlin's idea of AI. Now, doesn't that look good? I know I've said this before, but, you know, welcome to Train Sim, gotta repeat all this kind of stuff, otherwise, potatoes. I wish I could say I was looking forward to this route, but it's not nice to lie, so no, I'm not. Moving on. Now, before we go on to the segment that I wanted to do next, an user has come up to me and told me that I should take down another user in the Train Sim community, and in this case this person was named LaserJet. I never heard of him before, so I went onto his channel, watched a few of his videos, giggled a bit from the silliness, and yeah, I came to the conclusion that, no, he's not worth my time. And the reason why is, actually no, I'll put it as an analogy. I've got a really good analogy for this. I was looking through DeviantArt several days ago, and I happened to stumble by chance onto a user who likes to ship characters. And in this case, the two characters this user liked to ship were Gumball and Genos from One Punch Man. Now, quite apart from the fact that these two characters have absolutely nothing in common whatsoever, and knowing that this user just, for the most part, kept to himself and barely made requests to other users and artists, what exactly is the problem here? Now, I'm not trying to defend the ship or say it's a good ship. No. That ship would sink in a dry dock. But at the end of the day, this guy is harmless. It's just a silly ship. That's it. That's essentially the thing with LaserJet. He does those, you know, generic speed test videos. He edits like Kadikarus. He uses the Super Class 47 in a video stream or something, I don't know. And he's also made videos with the jet train. Yes, he's appealing to the lowest common denominator of YouTube audience. And it clearly works. He's got a mere 25,000 subscribers. In my eyes, the only problem with him, which other people have brought up to me, is that he knows absolutely nothing about trains. Or the bare minimum. I mean, he considers the TGV Euroduplex as a diesel electric, and didn't even correct it in post-edit. Or even as an annotation in the edit. That's easy. I do it all the time in Vegas here. But that alone, I'm sorry, he's not worth my time. He's not exactly a bad user. He's just, again, bog standard. Now, compared to the guy who made the cross-country extended edition route, who locked off a huge chunk of his route behind a paywall, and claimed it was for donations, and was basically making money off freeware and payware assets without permission, which resulted in Thomson Interactive knocking on his door saying, where did you get permission to make money off our stuff? Now that's bad. But LaserJet is nowhere near as bad as that, so yeah, not worth my time, I'm afraid. Sorry. Though I might make one joke about his videos in the not too distant future. I'll think about that. Now let's properly move on. Oh look, Dovetail found a pound behind the sofa, so now we can go from Woking to London on the Portsmouth Direct line. And Portsmouth can finally fit a 12-car train. Yay! Nice. Now, the Armstrong Powerhouse. I'm aware the Armstrong Powerhouse have been very, very busy making sound packs and enhancement packs and blah-de-blah-de-blah. Fortunately, I can review all their enhancement packs and sound packs within 10 words or less. Ready? Let's go. Sounds are good, liveries are nice, screw the pricing though. Easy. Well, with that being said, it is very hard to escape the distinctive amount of greediness displayed by the Armstrong Powerhouse as of recent. One of my personal favourites was upping the price of the Class 205 behind everyone's back without telling everyone, essentially lying to the community when they said the price is going to be permanent. So yeah, take it away, Dan Bull.
The hand of evil strikes again.
Oh, and before I forget,
I've created a monster, cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more. They want shady, I'm top living. Well, if you want shady,
I could only be bothered to do the 151, I'm sorry. Oh, do you know the 314 and 315 pack that they released? Obviously separate from the 313 because that's fair. It has a feature where if you set it to guard operation, you don't have to open the doors yourself. The guard will literally open and close the doors. Now, that feature alone is nice, but why introduce that feature onto the 315 where 9 times out of 10 it's running on a route where it's driver only operated? It's really confusing. It would be better to update that feature onto what train? I think, what other train Armstrong Powers have made? The 142, or the 150. that they nicked from Thomson. I'm not angry that they added such a feature, it's just, again, why introduce it on the train that is primarily DOO? Oh, and I just remembered, it reacts to neutral sections and has the CSR and GSMR scripts, which the 313 has yet to be updated with. Or the Class 90, or 321, or to an extent Railworks Class 4. You get what I'm not going on here. And I still think it's rather scummy of them to separate the Class 319 into 2 packs, and obviously leaving out the main livery that everybody has been wanting the Armstrong Powerhouse to make for a long time. But, you know, everyone's already complained about that. You don't need my extra 10 pence apart from the fact that, well, yeah, I agree with the community, it's scummy, and it just feels like they're doing it because they can, not because they want to. And, well, yeah, that's it, that's what I can think of. That's the end of the episode. Except, no, it isn't. There's one more thing to say. Now, originally I was going to do the Q&A for the next episode, but considering it's been, what, a mere 13 months, it's been a while since I've been making videos in general. So I thought, that's a bit cheap, so how about this? I'm going to push the Q&A to episode 34, and episode 33, that's going to be a workshop showcase episode. If you don't know how that worked, in episode 8, yes, 8, I did a showcase on the Steam Workshop for Train Simulator, where we take a look at some of the routes that people have contributed to see if they were good or bad, or if they were just unfinished tosh. However, there has been a bit of a quality bump in general with the workshop, so I thought to myself, you know what, I found a few routes that I want to check out and look over to see what the overall quality of the workshop is, now that I've given it more time to hopefully brew and simmer a bit. There's still some pretty bad content on there, but, you know, what else do you expect? It's the Steam Workshop. However, as a bit of a bonus, I'm also going to let you, as in the viewers, feel free to contribute ideas or suggestions for things that I should look at on the workshop for this showcase. I've only got 3 rules that you have to work with. Number 1, the route must be available on the workshop. If you've posted a route on UK Train Sim, but then you've put it onto the Steam Workshop because it's compatible, that's okay, I'll look at that. Number 2, the route cannot be an extension and or a modification of an existing route, even if that route originated from the workshop. So if Danny comes up to me and says, do you want to look at South London to Brighton? I'll just reply with, ugh, no. Not saying because it's bad, not at all, it's because it's an unfair comparison. And the third rule, just out of kindness, try to refrain from American routes. Not because well, yeah, it is because I don't like American routes, but it's also because I don't have much knowledge of, especially the American signalling system, so if there are major errors, they will most likely go over my head. Unless you find an American route that is really, what, at least in your eyes, worth looking at, don't bother showing it to me. It is a shame that this is going to be exclusively a workshop showcase, because there are some fictional routes on UK Train Sim and Train Punt, like the Eye Valley and especially the Clement Delta Land, which I really want to give a good look at because those are really good routes. But, you know, I think a workshop showcase would be a nice idea. I already have a bank of ideas of what I want to look at, but again, if you want to send me some routes for me to look at for the workshop showcase, you can post them below in the comments, or you can post them onto the thread I'm going to make on the Train Sim New Show Steam group. And there you go, that's the episode. I understand that there are people out there, students, doing exams at the moment, or have just finished their exams, and are awaiting their results. We're wishing you the best of luck, because as far as I'm concerned, kids don't really need so much pressure applied for them, especially since it's only going to get harder in life for them if they don't do well. I wish you good luck for the future and your exam results. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Goodbye!